Welcome to Fibertown. A big welcome to everyone who is here for the first time or if you're coming back. Hi, I'm so glad you're here in my kitchen with me today. Alice has just finished her breakfast, even though it's now 1:30 in the afternoon, and she's trying to come up and say hi. Hi. She's been incredibly, she can jump a little bit. She's been incredibly lazy with the change of seasons, and I never mean to go on and ramble about my dog, but she's so ramble-worthy, aren't ya? Hi, I'm Emily, Chain of Fools on Ravelry and Fibertown with an R-E on Instagram and my blog and iTunes and YouTube, and welcome. I have things to share with you today, and I just want to say thank you again to everyone who got in touch about my 200th episode. It was kind of a milestone. It did sneak up on me, but I'm thrilled to be here and chatting with you guys every week or 2 weeks or so about what I'm making. I have a lot of new things this week, and so let's just get started. Okay, so the very first thing is a finished object. This is a sweater, and this is quite a sweater, I have to say. So let me just share it. Let's sum it up, shall we? I've been talking about this for a while, 6 weeks, 2 months. I don't remember when I started talking about this. But I'm calling this my Avocado raglan, and it is a sweater I designed from start to finish with tons of inspiration from sweaters already in existence, but I did make it my own, starting with the yarn. So the yarn is a hand spun. It is from Combed Top from Reflections at Rocklands, and it's a Rambouillet wool, which is a type of merino. It's a French breed of merino. I think it originated on an estate, the Rambouillet estate outside of Paris. And so this is Rambouillet raised in, or Rambouillet, as people say, in Pennsylvania. And Kate Bostick, I think is the shepherdess's name, she regularly, like every year, wins first prize at Rhinebeck, at Maryland Sheep and Wool, other festivals for her animals, and the fleece as well. Like, I have had part of the first prize in show fleece at Rhinebeck 3 years ago, and it was a cormo. So she raises cormos, and I have 2 pounds of her cormo. She raises Rambouillets, stop it, and she raises border Leicesters. I've spun all of her wool, and she makes amazing wool, and she and her sheep do, I should say. And she's a great resource to have. So this is semi-local to me. So I hand spun the yarn. I made a 3-ply. I have a significant amount left, probably over 500 yards, and I've put part of that in my Etsy shop. So if you're interested, go take a look. Just a small insertion into the podcast. Wanted to show you something else that it's in my Etsy shop right now, and this is a sweater's quantity of botanically dyed, hand-spun Icelandic from a fleece from last year's Rhinebeck. It's much more yellow in real life. This was dyed with marigold and goldenrod, and it's rustic and heathery, and if that's your thing, it's in my Etsy shop right now. The entire 1,100 plus yards of a 2-ply, mostly sport weight. And I wish the color were really showing up. Anyway, just a little thing you might want to check out. Thanks. It's Fibertown on Etsy. And so what I did after I spun the wool was I dyed it using avocado pits that I procured for free at my local market after they made masses of guacamole for Super Bowl Sunday last year. So, it was an experience, and the wool was very white, and I knew I wanted to dye it. So I had misgivings about the color because it's quite close to my skin color. So that's, you know when you see someone wearing nude leggings, do a double take, like, is that person naked? Or I should say nude, depending on the color of their skin. But yeah, it's a little bit off-putting, isn't it? So I'm just going with this for now to see how I like it. I'm wearing it with jeans for contrast. So what I've done is I've done sort of a rectangular neck, kind of a close-up high neck. I did very simple cables, 2 at each raglan increase, and then as I worked down the body, I cast on stitches for the sleeves. You can see this is not the prettiest looking underarm. Underarms generally aren't very pretty though, are they? Anyway, I added 14, I cast on 14 stitches, and then I added this horseshoe cable. So I really like the horseshoe cable. I did a little bit of shaping here, the purl stitches. I don't know if you can see how the cables almost touch around this area. And that was sort of at my waistline. And then I increased out, and so the whole panel gets this sort of opening of a V. And of course I did the same over here. Oh, this thing is so cozy. The wool is gorgeous. I think it's actually gonna wear pretty well. I made the sleeves really long, and I'm heating up in it. It's not really sweater weather here. Hi, darling. You wanna come up and say hi, don't you? So I'm gonna wear this winter. I'm gonna see how I like the color. I will probably re-dye it at some point, the whole sweater. You know, and that's what people used to do before chemical dyes. And when I say chemical dyes, all dyes are chemical. Everything is chemical, right? Even things that are organic. I think that just means carbon-based in its most academic form of the word. Even organic is chemical, right? So anyway, I digress. But before people had industrial dyes, and they dyed everything with natural dyes, they'd pull things out every year or a couple years when they were faded, and they would re-dye them. So I'm going to treat this sweater like that. And if I want to re-dye it, I will re-dye it. So I have no immediate plans to publish this pattern. I feel like there are probably other patterns out there that are quite similar. I don't think, you know, there's anything that's exactly the same, but I have written this all down in case I want to make it again. So, yeah. It's just a great sweater. Now, you might be wondering about the short rows in the back. And you can tell that it is a bit of an issue. Where's when I do this? It's perfect for a little rounded back, a little hunchback. But yeah, I might deal with that later. I might not. It might just be an around the house kind of sweater, and that's behind me, and so why should I care? So that is my avocado raglan, friends. And now I'm roasting. Oh well. Let's continue. Works in progress. I have some that you've seen already. Oh gosh, I just realized one's in the middle of a row. Ooh. Let us start with a brand new one, the pierogi socks. I'm knitting these out of Ross Farm Shetland wool from Lindy. There she is, a little Lindy, a wee Shetland ewe. And she's got this gorgeous wool here. It's a 3-ply sport weight. And these are the pierogi socks by Sarah Jordan. And I'm knitting these at bulletproof gauge. And I'm knitting the smallest size on, goodness, these are my zings, which I really, really like. And you know what? Other needles could take a cue from zings where they etch the size into the needle. So it never goes away, as far as I can tell. So this is a 3mm needle with sport weight yarn. So these are really bulletproof. And these are too small for me. So I think they fit my son, so he will get them. I will be making more. This was a really fun sock to make so far. And now I'm following my own pattern from, as of the heel flap, it is my own pattern. I'm just using the numbers that she has. So yes, you cast on and you fold the hem over to knit this really pretty cuff. So that's folded, it's a double thickness, and then you do this short row. Fun little, this is the pierogi bit of the sock, the little dumpling part. And it just cups the back of your foot. I think it has a rather medieval kind of look to it. I will be making more. This is a fast knit too, and sport weight yarn just goes like crazy. So another sock is my Wandering Wool BFL blend, and I'm trucking on down the foot. I started out doing a Hermione's Everyday sock pattern, and it just doesn't suit this yarn, so I stopped right here on the foot. I decided not to torture myself trying to remember which row was which anymore and just go. I think it looks much better in stockinette. So it's a BFL blended with nylon neps for a tweedy look. I started on my, you can see right here, it kind of bells out. That Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern really does add extra fabric. Makes the fabric bigger. So I decreased by 4 at this marker. You can tell it's a little bit skinnier. And then I think I'm maintaining that 4 stitch fewer on the foot as well, just because why not? So that's in one of my hand woven linen bags. Really love this bag. So the Brunsfield cardigan. I did a big frogging on this, which you might have seen on Instagram. Started using Instagram stories, and that's fun. Finally figured it out. It's nothing like new technology to make you feel like you're a little bit old. But it's all good now. So what I've done is I've gone into, I frogged back to about here. You'll recall I had a really dark midnight blue. Stop it. Sorry about that. I frogged back to before that. I picked up all the stitches, put them back on the needles, and I substituted this, which I've had in my stash for ages. Shetland Spindrift, which is pretty interchangeable with the Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight, 4-ply jumper weight. I can't remember what it's called now. Hang on. So these are both based in Shetland, Jamieson, and Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight. So yes, I have had this in my stash for ages. I think since my son was, he wasn't even 1 year old. Almost 1. He was almost 1, yes. I bought this around the time he started to walk. Around the time, I don't think I was really even knitting yet. I was only crocheting. And I bought this in Providence, Rhode Island. So these are colors that I have used successfully before in a garment, in a colorwork garment. They're basically the natural colors in a pansy or a viola. So they just work, you know. You cannot go wrong with the colors nature puts together. And as my daughter told me, she is an artist. They're complementary colors, the mustard and the purple. And it's more of a lavender. So, back on track with this. That is the Brunsfield cardigan by Isolde Teague. And it's in my Teasel Alice bag. Alice just brought a toy in the kitchen. You want to play? She wants to play. I've never met a dog who likes playing with kids more than this one. When my brother's kids come over, she is in heaven. She plays keep away with them, which she always wins. And she plays soccer with them with the bouncy ball. You may have seen how skilled she is at that. And yeah, anyway. All the digressions about my dog all the time. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that I put this. Okay, well this is all right. It's in the middle of a row. But I started a new shawl, and I'm not sure about it yet. I think I like it. It's in this bag. Fat squirrel bag. It just, 5 skeins are in here. So these are the 5 skeins. Probably can't see them very well. I'll show you them in the project. I cast this on this weekend. It's been on my radar for a while. I've had the yarns pulled out for a while. I've probably showed them here before because I did take them out and test them for dye fastness, and they were all fine. And I did that because I was putting 5 colors together in, and they're primary toned or jewel toned or both. So here they are. This is the starting point cal by Joji Locatelli. Oh my goodness, the colors are wrong, just completely wrong. Oh my gosh. And I'm not sure about it yet, but I think it's going to work out. I don't really like the yellow and the blue next to each other. What is it with me and colors lately? All right, well, this is, oh gosh, a bamboo merino blend. A couple of these are Malabrigo sock, which are deep stash. These are all deep stash. This one is Titian red, like the painter. Ochre, it's a Malabrigo sock. And this one is a cephalopod yarns in blue lobster. This one is a really gorgeous brown. Okay, the colors look terrible. What is up? This is a brown that I dyed. It's a bit variegated. And then, yeah, that's it. So, I think it'll be really kind of stunning once it's all worked up and all the colors are working together. So it's a stash buster. I've got to get a picture of it in better light. Maybe I'll do that and try to insert it. I have so many Imaginating projects right now, but that's it for what's on my needles. Is that it? It is. So I have some sewing, and not all of it is mine. And I may get my son to come on. I know he loves to come on the podcast, but he just hasn't been around as much lately since he's in school. He had a sick day, and it was around the time that there was a lot of talk about hurricanes, and his school was doing a shoes and socks drive for hurricane people who were affected by the hurricane and desperately need those things. By the 3 or 4 hurricanes we've had in this country in the past month. So we took some shoes and socks to school, and he was home and bored, and we thought up a craft project for him. And what he did was he took a friction pen, which is an erasable fabric pen, and he drew some designs. Then he embroidered them, and he decided he was going to try to sell them and raise funds to send to a charity that deals with hurricane relief. So he drew this himself. This is a milkshake, and he embroidered it himself. I put some felt on the back, stitched it up. And then this one is just finished. This needs to be ironed. The pen markings need to be ironed away, but he drew this one himself and stitched it. It's very Halloween-y. And this will also be framed and sold for hurricane relief. He's extremely proud. These will be put in the Fibertown shop at some point this week, and he's hoping to do more. Yeah. So I thought that was lovely. And, you know, if you need this for your craft room and you want to support hurricane relief, if you need this for a Halloween decoration and you want to support hurricane relief, you know where to go. Okay, so other sewing. I made my first Ogden cami. Oh, and it's inside out. This is by True Bias, and I used some Sleeping Porch cotton lawn, which I first got my hands on this at Rhinebeck last year. Heather Ross is the fabric designer, and she was there giving away fat quarters. So I purchased some more of it, and I really love these. I think this looks great under like a gray cardigan. There it is. It is too small for me. That's more like the real color. I cut out a size 6 based on the measurements without really looking at the finished measurements. I'm not a size 6. I don't know why I thought that. Usually an 8 or a 10 on top and bigger on bottom. Bigger on the inside. So this fits my daughter really well. So she got this. She wore it yesterday. It's a little wrinkly. But it's a great, oh look, there's a stain on it. It's a really good pattern. It's faced. You could actually do the facings out of a different fabric. I used the same. So I have plans to make another one. I've made a muslin to see if I should make the 8 or the 10. I think I'm going to make the 8. Otherwise the 10, there's too much room under the arms. So yeah. I also picked up something that I made last year. and I never really finished it because it was too small for me, but it fits me now. So this is like a big 4 pattern. I can't remember which exact pattern it is, but I had this kind of, it's really badly made. It was one of the first times I'd done buttonholes, and I kind of cleaned them up. And yeah, it's a nice fabric. It's a lot of Jansdotter fabric. Nice vertical lines. Has some pleats, but it's a very nice skirt. So I have a new usable skirt. I remember I think I just wadded it up and shoved it in a basket when it didn't fit me. And I'm thrilled to say it does now. And I've also been sewing project bags. And I've sewed a bunch, and I've actually had some repeat customers, which is super exciting. Like 3 or 4 repeat customers. So thank you so much for supporting the shop. It does support the podcast. And I just wanted to show you one bag that didn't make quality control. It's I've been doing bags with wool felt that I have botanically printed. This one is a little weird on this side. See how it's not really level, it slants. So this one will stay home with me since I'm not happy to put it in the shop that way. But I wanted to share some thoughts about the lining. Let's see. It's this pillow ticking. You know what people used to use for mattresses or pillows? And I got this idea from Wartime Farm. It's a BBC show. And they were talking about making pillows out of your goose, the goose feathers. And the goose feathers had pointy quills. So this fabric was designed especially to deal with that kind of thing. It's very, very closely woven to prevent the quills from poking out. I'm sure they still do on occasion, but it lessened the impact of that, and those quills would poke into you. The goose quills. So I thought, that would kind of be good for needles, right? Needles not poking out of bags. So I decided to line a couple of these with the ticking, and I think it's cute, very cute. So that's staying home with me, but I do have some other bags I showed you briefly, and I want to show you again. These are finished now. They all have a wrist handle that swivels. So these are lined with Osnaburg muslin, and these have these really nice seams. This one is, I showed these already, I think, but I thought I'd show them again. These would hold a 2-skein project, and they all have a wrist handle. They're not all on there right now, but yeah, very fun. I love this old tree on this one. Very kind of country French looking. So those are in the shop, and I think that's really it for sewing. I also have some fabric acquisitions that I'm not going to show, but I have lots of plans. I have plans to acquire lots of patterns. I want to make a coat, not a coat, a jacket, like a Chanel style jacket. I've recently discovered Sew Over at London. Lisa Comfort has a podcast, and I find tons of sewing inspiration from that podcast. As well as others, but that is a podcast that's new to me. So my next acquisition, really my only acquisition for this week, for this month so far, although it is my birthday month, so I have more coming. I got Blacker brushwork. I got 8 skeins, and this is their birthday yarn. 11th birthday, I think. And you've probably heard of this. They PR'd the heck out of this yarn. They got everyone excited, and the woolly thistle is completely sold out. I can tell you that because I went there and looked today, just on the off chance. No, it's sold out. It's funny, some of them have different ball bands. I know that the ball bands are custom made as well, designed for this yarn. So this is just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is the colorway. Oh, this is the 12th birthday yarn. woolen spun Castle Milk Morit, which is a very rare breed, as well as alpaca and Saxon merino. I do love a woolen spun yarn. So I have a sweater quantity of this gorgeous purple, and I think this is colorway Smudge. Yes, Smudge. Would have liked the gray as well. I really would have, but the grayish white. They're all heathered colorways. So yes, this is a special yarn. It'll get knit soon, I think. I don't know. I have so many things I want to knit. So many things. So, are you getting ready for Rhinebeck? I'm not. But I'll be all right. I'm swapping with a couple of lovely people for the Rhinebeck FOMO swap. Come here. Alice wants to say hi. Come here, darling. Gotta walk over here. And getting ready for my birthday. Oh, yes. So, Alice. Thanks for belching on camera. How you doing? We both hope that you are doing very well. And until next time, take care.